Book 21, Return of the Mummy, first published in the UK in 1995. We have to call the police, I told Sari. We have to tell them about Dr. Fielding. But we can't just leave Daddy here, Sari replied. I started to reply, but a frightening thought burst into my mind. I felt a shudder of fear roll down my body. Sari, I started, if Uncle Ben is lying in the mummy's case, then where is the mummy? Her mouth dropped open. She stared back at me in stunned silence. And then we both heard the footsteps, slow, scraping footsteps. And saw the mummy stagger stiffly into the room. Book 22, The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, first published in the UK in 1995. I opened my eyes. Finally, I opened my eyes and saw the hazy sky, all a blur. Everything was a watery blur. I stared at the sky, trying to get it into focus. And then I saw a hand in front of the sky, a hand lowering itself towards me, a bony hand, stretching out from a heavy black coat. The hand of a scarecrow, I realised, staring up helplessly at it. The hand of a scarecrow, coming down to grab me. Book 23, Attack of the Mutant, first published in the UK in 1995. I have to go back, I said, turning to leave. And as I turned, something came into view that made my breath catch in my throat. Oh! I let out a startled cry and stared across the street. But that's impossible, I exclaimed. I was staring at a tall building on the other corner, a tall pink stucco building with a bright green domed roof. I was staring at the secret headquarters of the masked mutant. Book 24, My Hairiest Adventure, first published in the UK in 1996. I picked up my toothbrush and spread a small line of blue toothpaste on it. I started to raise the toothbrush to my mouth and then stopped. Hey! I cried out. The toothbrush dropped into the sink as I gazed at the back of my hand. At first I thought the hand was covered in a dark shadow, but as I raised it closer to my face, I saw to my horror that it was no shadow. I let out a loud gulping sound as I stared at the back of my hand. It was covered by a patch of thick black hair. Book 25, A Night in Terror Tower, first published in the UK in 1996. Eddie sucked in his breath and pushed through the opening first. Then I squeezed through. Panting hard, we shoved the door shut behind us. The door had a long metal bar on the outside. I slid it all the way, bolting it, locking the caped man inside. We're safe, I cried, spinning away from the door. But we weren't outside. We were in a huge dark room, and a cruel voice in the room with us, a man's voice, laughing softly, told me that we weren't out of trouble. Book 26, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, first published in the UK in 1996. Under the face of the clock, I saw another door. A big door. I touched its golden knob. What's behind this door, I wondered? Maybe the gears of the clock, or a pendulum? I glanced over my shoulder once again. No one was looking. No problem if I just peeked behind that big clock door. I tugged on the golden knob. The door was stuck, so I pulled harder. The door flew open. I let out a scream as an ugly green monster burst out of the clock. It grabbed me and knocked me to the floor. Book 27, Monster Blood Free, first published in the UK in 1996. Shaking away the tingling, Evan scrambled to his knees. He turned in time to see the seething goo roll over him. He opened his mouth to scream, but the scream was trapped inside him as the heavy green gunk spluttered over his face. He thrashed both arms wildly, kicked his feet, but the sticky goo wrapped around him, pulling him in. I can't breathe, he realised. And then everything turned green. Book 28, Ghost Beach, first published in the UK in 1996. The wind made a deep sucking noise. A column of leaves, dust and dirt swirled up into my face. I pinched my eyes shut. When I opened them, I saw Terry crouched over a small grave. "Don't move," I called. "I'm coming." I zigzagged my way around the tombstones until I reached her side. "It's getting dark," I said. "Let's get out of here." I turned and took a step, and something grabbed my ankle. Book 29, Phantom of the Auditorium, first published in the UK in 1996. Another long howl from above the stage forced me to raise my eyes, and I saw him. A green and blue masked creature, wearing a shiny black cape. Gripping a long, heavy rope, he came swinging down from high on the catwalk. As he swung down to the stage, he threw his head back and laughed a horrifying, evil laugh. I jumped to my feet and stared in amazement at the phantom. Book 30, It Came From Beneath the Sink, first published in the UK in 1996. The sponge quivered and shook. It shook with what seemed like joy. And it breathed, so loudly that I could hear the eerie sound from the other side of the room. I wouldn't find out the frightening truth about the sponge creature until the next day. When I learned it, I understood why there were so many accidents in our new house. And it made me wish that I had never opened that cabinet, never reached under the sink, and never found the spongy thing. Because now it was too late. Too late for us all. Consider giving this episode a like, comment, or even subscribing to become a member of the Keano Reads Goosebumps Club. Thanks again, Keano.